Alright folks, let's break down this bias. You know that feeling when you think you're a total loser? Yeah, that's because of this thing called survivorship bias. Let me break it down for you real quick. Imagine you're in World War II, your army is getting pounded by the Nazi army, and you have to make your planes tougher against bullets. What do? You can't just armor up the whole plane cause it'll weigh a lot and cost a fortune, so what's the smart move? Well, most folks would say, let's see where the planes got hit the most and reinforce those spots, right? Makes sense, right? But here's where it gets interesting. This happened in real life. There was this math whiz named Wald from Columbia University, and he was like, hold up, folks. He realized something crucial. See, they had this map showing all the damage on the returning planes, and it seemed like the fuselages got hit the most. So, naturally, they were gonna reinforce those. But Wald said, nah, you're looking at it wrong. He pointed out that the planes that got shut down weren't there for inspection. The ones that came back had holes in places where a plane could take a hit and still fly. So he said, let's reinforce the parts that didn't get damaged, cause those are the spots that, if hit, would have taken the plane down. The military had the survivorship bias right there, my friends. This bias is when you focus on the stuff that survived some process and ignore the rest cause it's not in your face. And Wald noticed it. Same thing happened with those Brody helmets. At first, it seemed like more soldiers were getting seriously hurt with them on, because the number of injured soldiers increased a lot. But guess what? Before the helmets, those soldiers didn't make it long enough to reach the hospital, so it seemed like fewer injuries. The helmets were actually saving lives, not causing more damage. And this bias isn't just in wars and helmets. It sneaks into medicine and other studies too. You look at survivors and think that's the whole story, but it isn't. Like with university admission tests, it's a pain to figure out if they're any good, cause you can only look at the folks who made it in. You miss out on those who didn't. So it's really hard to measure the effectiveness of these tests. And politics? Don't even get me started. Some folks twist stats to fit their narrative. They say, look, 30% of paternity tests show that dad isn't the real dad. But hold on, taking that test isn't easy. It's like telling your wife you don't trust her, so it's usually the super suspicious ones who do it. So, a big survivorship bias. In the general population, that number even drops to a mere 0.2%. Quite a gap, right? Now, here's where it hits you in the gut. You hear all those stories about people beating the odds and reaching their dreams despite insane challenges. But remember, most folks who tried just as hard or even harder and didn't make it, well, they're not writing books or giving motivational talks. Who wants to share a story of failure, right? I'm even talking about those people who experienced failure, but they eventually achieved uncommon success in the end. So you're seeing a skewed perspective. I'm not saying you should give up. For me, trying is what life is all about. It's better to try to emulate someone who achieved their goal than someone who didn't. I'm just saying you don't have a real perspective on how the majority of the people are doing. And that can really affect your psychological well-being, cause humans tend to compare themselves a lot with others. It's part of being human. And they like to be above, or at least not be at the bottom. You're just being bombarded with the few successes that exist. Probably you're more normal or even above average than you think. And social media? Oh boy, it's like a highlight reel of people's lives. They show off their trips, their smiles, their cute pets, and their fancy stuff. But that isn't real life. People tend to post the good things, not the fight they just had with her partner or the challenges they face with their kids. Don't compare yourself to that online facade. So, keep on trucking, my friends. Survivorship bias might be messing with your head, but now You know, it's a sneaky trick. Ever felt its impact on your life? Share your stories below. And if you found this talk helpful, hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. Stay tuned, cause we're gonna dive deep into more biases real soon. Cheers!